All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Chet, please tell me something good about the game that was supposed to be VR and then ended up not being VR from our good old friend, Mr. Elijah.
Oh man.
I was going to say Mr. Wood, but I felt uncomfortable saying that.
Mr. Wood. Well, that's not something the game gave me.
It didn't give you Mr. Wood? Good.
It didn't give me wood.
It just gave you Elijah.
Okay. Man, it's like there are some just bad telltale signs when something went wrong. Just remember We Happy Few had all these premieres at E3 and then it turned out not so great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I haven't played We Happy Few, but everything I've heard about it has been that.
This is the same thing. Like, this is a game where they talked about a couple of times at E3's Transference, a VR sci-fi adventure. And let's just start with the fact that I'm not like a big fan of horror games in general. But if it's sci-fi horror, you got me. You got me 100%. You can get me to see something really scary if it's sci-fi flavored, because for some reason I can internalize it better and I can handle it, I guess. So like I'm really interested to see how terrifying sci-fi horror can be. But there were some like warning signs here. Like, first of all, the game came out and I didn't even know the game was out and I was looking forward to it. Like I was like, oh yeah, I can't wait till this game come out. Then later on I'm browsing and someone mentions it and I look, I'm like, is this out? Oh, it is. Interesting. Looks like they paid this game no attention or marketing whatsoever. That's not suspect at all.
That is not suspect at all.
Oh,
Said no one
man.
ever about suspicious things.
And it was even weird too because I was under the full impression that this was a VR only game.
That's
only
the
when
part
it
that
came
made me
out.
nervous, because I was like, wait a minute. They told me this was a VR game. Who changed their mind at the last minute and why?
Yeah, I saw it and I'm like, wait, this is out on Xbox and PC? So it doesn't have to be VR, does it?
Nope.
And indeed it did not. It was not a VR game. It was a game that might be a little bit enhanced by VR. It is a bit scary, but like it's not going to really fix the experience that much. Because, let's see, how do I describe this game? Did you enjoy PT?
Oh my god, I love PT, but I also love horror games, but I love PT to the point that I'm not even like taking a chance at switching my hard drive on my PS4
Yeah, you
because
don't
I still
wanna
have
lose
PT. Yeah, no, it's not even an option. I'm not even gonna play that game. PT stays on the hard drive forever.
All right. I sometimes I take a peek at Metacritic scores just to give an idea of things I want to watch out for. And in this case, this was another time where I saw something that didn't get the best reviews, but I disagreed. Like it happened with Get Even, another sort of sci-fi horror game. Get Even didn't get the best reviews, but I absolutely loved it. This game, I was getting some vibes from it that it felt like Get Even, and for what it's worth, I was right. It's like a very slick combination between Get Even and PT, with just like a little bit of sprinkles of Gone Home into it. You pick up stuff and you read it to infer clues about what's happening to a family.
Okay. How does it have PT elements? That's the important part.
Once you get inside a building, you're just inside the same house forever, but what you do is you find a light switch, and when you flick the light switch, you swap between 3 different minds of the people in the family. The child, the mother, and the father. And the rooms will change based on whose mind you're in. And some doors will open, some doors will change. Sometimes you'll be allowed to go outside, sometimes you can't. And it's based on what sort of puzzles you solve. And I wanted to like it, but it was kind of lame.
What didn't you like about it? Because as of right now, it still sounds like I'm interested.
Well, it was really short. I beat it under an hour and a half.
Okay, I like micro experiences. I think they're weird.
Yeah, but it was $25.
Wow. Yeah, if it was a micro experience and you sat there by yourself and you paid $25, then technically you got ripped off.
Yeah. And like they tried to say, oh man, we're cool because we combined real life elements, some real filmmaking with the game. And like I saw better stuff happen in Quantum Break than this, because it looks like they just had a guy with a camcorder film a couple of scenes with these amateur actors trying to play characters, versus Quantum Break, which was an Xbox game where there was practically a Netflix show embedded in it.
Yeah, I remember that. They were supposed to do a whole series for it and everything on like HBO or something.
Yeah, it was built into the game though, and it was fine. But here in a Transference, it just felt like it was a couple of things done on a camcorder, but not like done on purpose to look camcorder. It just that's how it came across. And it's good in the sense that, you know, these characters, you get a good peek into their psyche because the mother, she feels like she's trapped and she feels like she gave up her dreams to be with this man. And like whenever you're in her mind, all the doors in the house look like prison cell doors.
Ooh, that's very disrespectful. That's very disrespectful and rude.
And then yeah, when you're in the kids version of it, you see different things than when you're in the dad's version. And it would have been good if the plot weren't like absolute nonsense. Like I began the game, I inferred a few things about the characters in this, and then I finished the game, and I looked at it and I said, "That's it. I really don't know kind of what happened." I mean, it was very vaguely hinted at the beginning of the game that this scientist dad found a way to put the human consciousness on a computer, but then it's not really relevant after that. It's just like I'm just experiencing something that's only quasi-related at best. And it's interesting, but it's not good. It's unique, but they could have done so much better than what they actually did. And one of the biggest problems I had was some of the puzzles were awful. Just awful adventure game level puzzles. Particularly, this is an apartment you stand in for the most time, but you start outside of the apartment. In order to get into your apartment, you have to read sheet music from like, you know, proper stuff. And like, if you don't know how to read sheet music, that might be a bit hard. I did find out later on another review that there is a piece of paper that shows you how to read sheet music. But other than that, I was looking at this puzzle and going, man, if you don't know what sheet music looks like or understand it, you're gonna have a hard time with this puzzle.
Especially if they didn't advertise that there was like it was going to be a music-based game in any way, shape, or form.
It wasn't music-based. It was just you have to read the letters of the sheet music that correspond to the letters that the sheet music are.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if there was no like none of the little bit of like advertising or like exposure that this game had ever said anything about any type of music tie-in. So for them to just surprise people with like a music sheet puzzle is just like whoa, like. I know everybody should have taken like some sort of music class in elementary or middle school, but expecting people to remember that or be able to draw on that knowledge at whatever point in their lives they're at is kind of crazy.
It got a bit worse later on, because sure, that one had something that showed you, but then there were two other puzzles that really annoyed me. And one was this one where there's a piano, and there's 6 keys you have to press on, and the 6 keys correspond to 6 lights that are suspended above the piano. And the only way to solve the puzzle is to get all 6 lights to light up, but the keys you pressed on the keyboard didn't correspond to what lit up. Like you would press key number 1, and it would light up lights number 2 and 5, or something like that. It was just so hard to remember what each key lit up and didn't lit up, and what they would toggle, that I was just taking shots in the dark, and I was ready to just look up the answer until actually my girlfriend figured it out, and she only figured it out by a random circumstance. So it was just a shit puzzle there.
That's another example of them like diving into music, because I feel like even without having played the game, something tells me that puzzle was asking you to play keys in like a certain scale or something like that. But you wouldn't know that without some sort of prior music knowledge.
It mainly pertained to what lights it lit up, more so than the notes itself. It was, keys 1 through 6 you click on will light up lights 1 through 6, and it was just hard to read there. And afterwards that, there was just this one other where you had to read these floating pieces of paper that gave you the code to a laptop, and the way they were arranged and the way the interface works, where you can pick something up, examine it, and drop it. It didn't really work for the way they wanted you to figure out the puzzle, because the numbers were arranged in a certain pattern. I don't want to spoil because you got to figure it out. But the pattern just you couldn't. It was very unwieldy to finish the answer because of the way they wanted you to figure it out. Because it was like this sort of pattern with numbers on it, and you had to line up these scraps of paper so they would give you the number. But these scraps of paper were very hard to line up, and it was very hard to tell which number belonged to which corner of the puzzle. Until I eventually just got it after, figuring out, okay, I got these numbers, there's only so many combinations, I know this one's the first, and I got through it. But overall, it was like Get Even, only instead of, it was the same thing where they had this screwed up family values thing that went wrong, only where Get Even had this thing about the psyche and remembering memories different. Transference was just nonsense. It was absolute, utter nonsense. And the end of the game, I finished him what did any of that mean? I didn't really understand what was happening or what was going on with these people or why I should care. It's nonsense. This guy at the end, he's telling you a bunch of things through his vlog. You finish the game and it's we've all found our own paradise and we are happy now. I'm I don't understand how that was conveyed in the story. All I did was do a bunch of dumb shit and now I'm at the end of the game.
Damn.
And that was it. I was just I was at the end of the game. And the other thing is there's a danger in the game. There's a ghost this ghost that looks like the Ender ghost from Minecraft, who's following you occasionally, and he traps you in some of the room. And if he gets you, all it does is it just puts you back into a room, and you gotta do it again. Like, there's really no fail state. And it was just obnoxious. And then the game just went from making sense, like, oh, I see you're exploiting these people's psyche, you're doing this thing, to all of a sudden, he's like telling you this message about, you gotta find the crystals are the key. And I'm finding these crystals, and I'm lining them up for this key, but I don't understand how that actually makes sense. Like, I don't know what they do, or why they were important. All I know is I had to grab them, and, you know, that eventually led to the ending of the game once I found all of them, and once I got through a certain sequence. But it didn't mean much to me. The plot was nonsense. The game wasn't advertised when it came out. I don't know what they meant to do with this game. I don't know who this was supposed to be for. I don't know who they were trying to impress. I don't know what the message they were trying to give, because I just finished this game after an hour and a half. I looked at it and I said, okay, like, I didn't even know this game was out. And now that I played it, this game in non-VR, I don't see VR how would have enhanced it. And I didn't get anything out of it. I can't say enough that it was just nonsense. It was just babbling. Like, oh, look at some spooky things. It's like a bad episode of Black Mirror.
Maybe it is that much better in VR, because I'm looking at the Metacritic, and it has a 70 on Metacritic, but the user score is 5.1. So obviously the critics have access to VR, and a lot of what they're saying is like, I mean, the highest review is 88. And that's IGN Spain. And it's the first sentence is a game that proves what VR is capable of achieving. So it's definitely a VR thing. But a 5.1 on a user score, only 9 ratings on Metacritic.
Yeah, and this isn't a big game. It's not like people when they meta bomb a game because they don't like it, because this game wasn't a major commercial game. So you don't have those people who are like angry or upset going and purposely sabotaging the gaming score. These were people who actually were interested in playing the game who left these reviews. And the same with the critics themselves. There weren't that many critic reviews. There was like 15, and that was it. Like, just nobody bothered.
Yeah.
Nobody gave a shit.
And this is
and like, I can't blame them. They didn't know it came out. It was just swept under. It's like, okay, it's out. Bye.
And this is what I've been saying about VR, is that the opportunities for VR are just, it's a double-edged sword. Like, more people need to own VR so that they can make great games for it, but there need to be more great games for it for people to buy VR.
I'm willing to play this game again in VR just to see what it's like. I know all the solutions to all the puzzles, so it wouldn't be too hard for me to play it again in VR. But honestly, the experience, this is one of the first experiences on PlayStation, me being a PlayStation convert. This is the first experience of a digital download where I thought to myself genuinely, can I get a refund? I was that let down by this one. And again, I liked games like Get Even that were not critically well received. Get Even didn't get good scores, but I loved it. And this game didn't get good scores either, but this game I was right on board with everyone else. It's like, this is not really all that remarkable. It's just a bunch of things that are creepy for the sake of being creepy, and not too much else, and there's not a whole lot you can extrapolate from the game other than some very obvious things they threw at you. The game has no subtlety. It's like, oh, the dad clearly had drug problems. Oh, the mom clearly had, issues with falling out with her career. It's just like, it beats you over the head with it, and you're left with nothing. It is so blunt and so obvious, there's no mystery. It's just, here's some family, here's some stuff that happened, thank you for playing our game.
This is we should reach out to the developers of the game the same way that we reached out to the developers of Agony, which I'm going to reach out to them again and see why I didn't get a response yet. But
I've been trying to reach out to the developers of Get Even, but they're Polish, so I gotta have someone write my email in Polish so I can get through to them. Because I keep trying to tell the developers of Get Even to release Get Even either in VR on the Switch, because you haven't played it yet, and I know you want to play it, but it is very suited to be a VR game or a Nintendo Switch game, especially with the Switch's, the 6-axis motion that it has. It would make aiming at the corner gun in that game a lot easier. I forget the big detail about that.
I just want to ask the people who created Agony and who created Transference what happened. Like, tell me what happened with this game. Like, why is this game so bad? Obviously, there is no way that anyone in the world could genuinely believe that these people set out to make a bad game when they started making this.
Absolutely not. No, so they did not intend to make a bad game at all.
What happened? That's the question of the day. What happened to Transference?
With Agony, it was like they turned to the gore and the disgusting behavior and the disgusting enemy layout to 11, and it never went down. So you're desensitized by the time you're 2 hours into the game, because you've already seen grotesque after grotesque. And then in Transference, you're just walking around in a house that's less threatening than PT, and you're not in any danger. Figure out some clues, finish the level. Thank you for playing.
Man. Let us know in the comment section below if you have taken the time to play Transference for yourself. What you think.
Let us know if you even knew it was out.
Yeah, we can start with that too. Let us know if you even knew this game came out. Man, it's funny because like we've had so many random disappointments this year, and it just like I don't even understand how they happened. Like
I'm trying to decide if this is more or less of a disappointment than We Happy Few. Like I'm really on the fence as to which one was more of a disappointment. I'm thinking Transferences because that was a game I was looking forward to that didn't turn out well, whereas We Happy Few was a game that I was reserving all expectations for until it came out. So I'd probably say We Happy Few was a bit more of a disappointment. But
We Happy Few was definitely
directly disappointed me as a sci-fi fan.
We Happy Few was definitely more disappointing because look at how many people were excited about. Like people aren't even talking about Transference. Nobody's been talking about Transference.
Nobody knows.
But people spoke about We Happy Few. People were looking forward to that, and it disappointed. But nobody
gave a shit
about Transference at all.
I mean, I already acknowledged the fact that the American audience don't typically like sci-fi. It's a phenomenon I've seen a lot. Like just sci-fi itself. I love it, but it doesn't not critically, but in this case critically, but commercially it never does well. 2017 had a ton of really good sci-fi movie of different varieties of qualities, and they all bomb. Some are really good, some are really bad, bomb at the box office. And then it's the same with the game. You get these sci-fi games and just people didn't bother to play them.
Well, that's Transference for you folks.
Yeah, like I'd say reserve judgment and wait till it goes on sale. This is a $10 experience. Like if PT was a free game, this game should be $10. $24 it's a big asking price for a game that'll be over in an hour and a half, even with those 2 or 3 puzzles that were god awful. Like and subscribe, Hard Mode Gamers. Peace.
Hey, this is Chet from Hard Mode Gamers. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Click that like button, thumbs up, click that subscribe button. We appreciate anything you can offer, even if it's just a moment of your time. We have plenty more of this content available to you at our website at hardmodegamers.com or right here on YouTube. Check us out and thank you.